play in the same key that they should as like always. When they played and they were playing against, when Matt Moore got the win, they were playing against Minnesota.
Right.
Diggs had 4 yards. Thielen didn't play. Dalvin's held down low. I mean, they were honestly, like, their defense looked phenomenal finally. Kirk Cousins was getting beat up. And then you watch them, play the next week, and you're like, man, if this defense can find some kind of consistency, I'm not saying great consistency, I'm just saying some kind of, like, just defensive play, average play, they'll be able to be a lot deeper on the playoffs. But I see Baltimore and New England beating them in the playoffs.
It's almost kind of funny, like, finding out about things this way. Like I said, Sunday was a rough one. But I just looked, and I was like, is that right? Derrick Henry, 188 yards?
Yes.
I mean, he's good for one of those a year, and I guess if you're going to pick a team, it's going to be against, like, the Chiefs defense.
He's historically really good against the Chiefs.
Right, and he always going to have that one game where it's like 188 yards, and I wasn't that high going into the season on him just because I felt like last year he got a lot of hype off of like the 2 playoff games or fantasy football playoff games. But that's insane. Is that like the season high? Is 188 yards?
I think this is the season high.
Or maybe
right
McCaffrey might have had something like that.
Close to that.
That
was a very good game as well. Packers-Panthers. That game was great. Snow, playing in the snow. McCaffrey got stopped at the 1, on a big field stop. You look at, I think Pittsburgh is right now the big story kind of developing. They're 5-4 now. We're looking at them being a top 10 pick for Miami to have, but it's shifting. It's not because they're off, and they're back to playing Steeler football and having a great defense.
It's when you were mentioning earlier about like organizations who just like you always can like feel like it's going to be steady, like the what you're saying with the Spurs and the Patriots. Like the Steelers are like that, and when they most of the time when you trade up in the first round of the draft, the team that is trading up is giving up too much, or it's not a good trade, or whatever.
Yeah.
As soon as, and not just saying this as a Michigan fan, but watching him a lot.
Devin
Bush.
Yeah.
As soon as they do that, you're like, yeah, that guy's a Steeler. Like that makes sense. He's going to be there for like 10 years.
That's something I
have 100 tackles a year.
Because they got Edmonds, Tremaine Edmonds' younger brother, in the safety from Virginia Tech. They picked him up, and he wasn't like this big, talked about guy either.
Right.
He really wasn't all talked about, and they thought it was a big reach. Devin Bush, they traded a lot to get him. They traded a lot to get Minkah Fitzpatrick. The Steelers front office knows what they're doing. Their scouting department's doing a great job getting these players. And like I said, I wanted Dallas a lot because we need a safety. We're talking about trying to get Jamal Adams, but I'm like, man, if we got to think of Minkah Fitzpatrick, that's all. You could play him. You can play him anywhere on the defense. He's a playmaker. At Miami, I just think it was a situation. I mean, he's fresh in the NFL. He doesn't want to play. Nobody wants to come in the NFL, play for a team that just doesn't care about winning or is focused on the next 3 years instead of this year.
I agree with what you're saying, but it's like, and we can talk about like NBA load management and all that kind of stuff later. I feel the same kind of way with if it's like a guy like Kawhi and he has an injury and he wants to manage his minutes. But if you're a rookie and you're coming in and you're trying to do load management just because you want to do what everyone else is doing and not play on back-to-backs or whatever. But the same thing for Minkah Fitzpatrick. It's like, I understand you don't want to play for a losing team, but at the same time, like, you are a rookie. You haven't done anything to really deserve, like, oh, I'm going to trade. I want to be traded here.
He's in his second year now. He was the same year as Lamar Jackson.
Oh, okay. Then, still, I mean,
but it's even with, it's just like, and I agree with you where you're saying you need to play for your team. At the same time, like, the thing that I think definitely changed for him is not necessarily just the style play. It's just he looks like he wants to play. You know, because when he was in, it was the Patriots game he looked awful against. But then the next game before he got traded, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was Dallas. He looks better.
Right.
And it's just like, of course, you're trying to get your trade value, trying to get the hell out. We understand that. And I just think right now it's been the best move for them. I mean, you look at the Steelers, their defense has been as consistent as it can be since New England.
Usually you want to wait on a trade to say like who won or lost, but I think it's safe to say like whoever they're going to get, whoever the Dolphins are going to get is not going to be as good as Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Not in this day and age, man.
No, yeah, everyone's the whole play. I get the whole player movement thing, and I don't want to be that guy and be like, oh, back in the day. But Joe Thomas played for like 10 years for the Browns. Like, I mean, whether that was smart or not, nobody really knows unless you watch football. He's not like a household name.
There's some guys who go like Larry Fitzgerald. I always felt like if Larry Fitzgerald would have left Arizona, he'd have a ring by now.
Is it weird that every time I think of Larry Fitzgerald, I don't know if it's because of the Cardinals, I think about Rod Tidwell from Jerry Maguire.
Yep.
He's like, I'm a Sun Devil. I want Sun Devil dollars, or whatever he's talking about.
I always remember when that hit. It was more of the Anquan Boldin hit.
Actually, that's a much better comparison because I think Rod Tidwell was pretty much mirrored after Anquan Boldin, or like Steve Smith or something like that.
I was another game that when we were looking at this week, you saw finally, the Browns won a game. Kareem Hunt's back. He's lining up at receiver.
Chubb Train back on the tracks.
You would run a lot of dual set with those backs. I thought this was a game that Cleveland could win. I said it last week. I thought, this should be a game. This should be able to be Buffalo. I think Buffalo has a great record. Don't get me wrong. but it's a misleading record. I think
Yeah,
that
no,
they play
absolutely.
a team in the playoffs.
And they still have a bad schedule, like an easy schedule. So they're going to wind up with like 9 or 10 wins, and they're going to be that early Saturday playoff game that it's like if you want to go out and do something else besides watch that playoff game.
Oh, exactly. I mean, when
it's gonna be like Bills Titans or something like that.
And that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of the teams, I think the Texans, I think the Titans are both better than the Bills right now, even though the record may not say it. I think they are. I think Baltimore is, Kansas City is, New England is. I don't look at the Bills and think, oh my God, this team can make a run in the playoffs. And I know Bill fans probably get upset if there's a lot on here watching it, but I mean, that's what it is. Like
a big Bills contingent.
I don't know if there is or not. They're everywhere. But I'm being honest. Come on. I get the record showing you, but you can't look at me straight in the face and say that offense, you're going to make a run in the playoffs. As a Cowboys fan, saying with that coaching, we won't make a run in the playoffs.
And the defense is good, but it's not the type of defense where the defense is not good enough to offset how the offense is.
Yeah,
if that makes
exactly.
sense.
Yes, exactly.
They don't have the type of defense where you can rely on winning 13-10 or
No, and because you just saw it doesn't work for Chicago.
Right, yeah.
Pittsburgh has that kind of defense. I think San Francisco has that kind of defense. I don't look at I think New England has that kind of defense where you look at New England against the Bills and they played them. It's a tough divisional game, but I see, I just don't see the Bills going out there making that strong run in the playoffs.
No,
if they make the playoffs.
Who are you looking at as far as like Super Bowl contenders? I can pull up the standings and everything here.
I was going to say the Saints and Patriots, but my big thing with the Saints is it really going to come together this time? And we like to think we've been talking about Saints and Patriots for maybe 3 years now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And where it's at the point where, all right, the Saints, we need you to hold your end of the bargain.
We've never gotten it, have we? Breeze versus Brady? Yeah, that would be.
But the Packers are a very big team to go into there. I don't think San Francisco, because I don't believe in Jimmy Garoppolo making that push with them. I think they have a great defense. I just don't see him going up against an Aaron Rodgers or a Drew Brees and going out there and getting past them. A Russell Wilson getting past them.
Yeah, I love the Seahawks, but it's mostly because of Russell Wilson.
Yes.
There's going to be one of those games in the playoffs or like leading up to the playoffs where they need him to do something and he's not going to be able to. Well, so far he has, but eventually it's not going to. You can't just have him bail you out every single time.
Yes, eventually, yeah. And you watch the way he's working with these tight ends. It
doesn't matter who the tight end is.
Disley wasn't like this amazing athlete.
Yeah.
And now we got Jacob Hollister. And if he's in your league, pick him up.
I was asking Stretch. We were watching the game at Denketu last night, and I was
man.
what is a whiter name than Jake Hollister for a tight end? It would have to be like Johnny American Eagle or something like that.
The guy he's making plays out there too. The touchdown that he was trying to throw to win the game and in overtime was to Hollister.
Right.
The week before they won with Hollister catching that ball. It's like Hollister's getting a lot. He had 10 targets last week for coming from 7 targets. Like if you're in fantasy and he's open, take him. Definitely take him because tight end is a position that I have Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
And it's just a guy that you never know when he can be out.
Every year you think it's going to be the year.
Yes. Hollister,
Vernon Davis was like that for me. Every year I was like, damn, he's so fast.
Jordan Reedish, yes. Very Jordan Reedish.
But did you hear Booger McFarland? I told Stretch too while we were watching the game. I said, I don't know who this kicker's name is. It's like Connor McGoffey or something like that.
The worst kick I've ever seen not blocked.
As soon as they said, because I knew Badgley wasn't playing mostly because of fantasy. I'm like, he's not going to make this kick. I guarantee you, he's not going to make this kick. And like the degenerate that I am, I tried to get Stretch to bet like right before the play started. He's like, no, I'm not betting. I'm like, damn, you should have bet.
Dude, this guy.
But Booger McFarland said, because the kicker made like a kick to send it to overtime, but then in overtime he missed a kick. And he said that Booger said he wasn't up to the moment. I'm like, he just made a kick to send them into overtime.
But when you miss a kick that bad, I think he really nutted up there. I mean, he nutted up. I mean, the kick wasn't close at all, and it wasn't even blocked. Like when I saw the kick, I was like, oh, they blocked it. I'm like, oh God, no, he just missed it.
My whole thing with kickers too is, and it happens a lot in college. It's like for these D1 programs, are there not enough? Like, should I have just been training to be a kicker since I was 6 years old?
Oh man, I always say that.
There's not 30 good kickers in the world. Like there's fewer good kickers than quarterbacks.
But when you look at the poll with, especially a lot of these major college teams don't give kickers scholarships.
That's what I'm saying. Like how many times do I have to watch Michigan either like miss an extra point or miss a kick? And I'm like, it's a major D1 program. Is there any kickers out there?
Your kicker's gonna be out, and like you saw a couple years ago with the Steelers. There are times the Steelers would just go for 2 and they wouldn't even kick an extra point.
But you might as
let
well
alone kick a field goal.
Yeah.
And you're looking at that and you're like, my God, that's almost like you're almost taking out a whole position at that point. And the kicker position is a very consistent position to have in the game. It's not like fullback, where you will eventually weed out the fullback. The only way we weed out of kickers is if we stop doing extra points, we stop doing field goals, which I don't ever see happening in football with all the crazy stuff going on.
It's just really honestly annoying, and I'm not saying this just because I've lost money betting because of it. And that's part of it. But as soon as you see somebody miss an extra point or something like that, and it throws off the flow of what the score would normally be. You're like, that's the point. I'm going to lose because of that stupid point. So instead of moving the extra point back, can we either just like go to like a blitz style thing where you can take the 1 point for free, or you go for 2? Because, and I'm just saying this because like I don't want more of the game to be decided by kickers. Like that's not fun for me to watch an extra point get missed, and then we
It gives value to the position though.
But I don't want value to be in the position.
I know that, but you got to give. See, if you take away value from that position, then the kicking standards can get worse and worse.
But we we could just get rid of kickers entirely.
Oh, I don't like that.
It's not needed. Like
kicking a field goal is big.
Well, okay, yeah, so you can still do field goals. I was thinking more because kickoffs are pretty much not a thing anymore. They changed the rules so you can't get onside kicks barely at all, unless you bet on a team like I do, and then you give up 2 onside kicks and they cut, whatever. Anyways.
Jesus.
It was a couple weeks ago, the team that I can't remember who it was like Bears or something, and they got like back-to-back onside kicks.
Oh my God, that would drive me crazy.
And it was like, it might have been fantasy or I lost money somehow, I don't know. But my whole, you could do field goals still, but my whole point is like I don't want games to be swung on a missed extra point.
Yeah.
And I don't want to the onside kick used to be exciting because it gave you a chance, but now that they changed the rules,
yeah, it's like it's almost impossible.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know.
I'm with keeping the kicker in the position, obviously keeping them in there. It's just I just looked at that guy. It was like you could tell right away, and when he kicked that ball, it was just so. It was like I said, it was the worst kick that I've ever seen not blocked, and he didn't. I really thought he wasn't ready to win the game at that point, which is, like you said, shocking because he tied the game up. So you think, okay, you're like 4 for 4 today. Your nerves shouldn't really be there anymore. Like you're kind of ready to go. This isn't like your second kick or your first kick of the day.
That's why I don't believe it was a nerves thing. But then the whole thing with when you said you want field goals and it's an exciting way to decide games and stuff, and even punting too, kicker talk. It's what you come here for. But the whole punting thing, it's like I'd rather be seeing teams go for it on 4th down or like I don't know. It's just annoying to me sometimes. Like you watch Russell Wilson play that game and then it just gets decided by a kicker. It's like I get it, but
hey, he had the chance to win it himself. He threw an interception though.
Yeah, that was like I said, it was
very uncharacteristic of him this season. I think that's only his second interception.
It was shocking. Yeah, as far as like Super Bowl and everything like that goes.
The NFC's tough right now. The NFC's really tough to see. I still go with New England in the AFC.
I love Baltimore, though, and I know it comes back to, like, they played a couple weeks ago, or last week, and it's going to wind up, like, they point to that matchup when they inevitably play in the playoffs, and then Bill Belichick pulls out, like, some new defense that we've never seen before, that Lamar Jackson is, and it's a lot of credit to, like, the Baltimore coaching staff, because it wasn't that long ago. It was, like at the playoffs last season, where he went like 2 real-time hours without throwing a completion.
Oh yeah.
And you got to give him credit for like changing the entire offense to be around him.
Harbaugh did a great, Harbaugh did an amazing job doing that.
Most coaches would just be like, well, we're going to try to fit him into our offense.
Yeah.
They changed the entire offense just to be focused on him.
Which is, I think, the newest thing that's going on with quarterbacks, and you're seeing it. I think the trend of going after younger quarterbacks is going to be more consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to see as many 10-year guys and guys getting their second contracts as you did before. It's where I'm coming from. I really think that they're going to start finding guys that can, because the quarterback position, I'm not saying, I still think it's the most valuable position in sports.
Right.
But there are offenses now that you're almost not watering down because they're still complex, but they're moving more efficiently, moving quicker. They're not these giant seven drop steps. You know,
Yeah.
You can find more ways to win with a younger quarterback, and like we always say, with not having to pay them Russell Wilson money. You know?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, we still see guys like Nick Foles and guys who are more like traditional type quarterbacks. You know, there is going to be that secondary type market, like that we keep going back to it, all the quarterback movement that I think is going to happen this offseason.
Yes.
Like, there could be like half the league with, like, Jameis Winston could be on the Bears, or Cam Newton could be on like, who knows?
I think Cam Newton to the Bears is almost like, I think that one's a big one. I know a lot of Dolphin fans do not want Cam Newton. The ones I talk to, but Kareem Hunt's dude,
Why would you not want Cam Newton?
Why? Well, if the Panthers don't want him because Kyle Allen's going to take the job, then that's why you just draft somebody.
I would not be surprised if Kyle Allen wasn't, or Cam Newton wasn't their starter next year.
Oh, I don't think either should be at this point.
I mean, good for Kyle Allen for doing as well as he has coming in, but I don't think that's going to be their quarterback for the next 5 years.
Minshew could still get traded for. There are people that look at Minshew and think they can do something to Minshew. It's just, and I'm not saying you can't by any means.
I would rather have Minshew starting than Foles. Like, to me, with Nick Foles, you know what you're going to get. Minshew, at least, like, he's like not a homeless man, but he's like like a, I don't know, what's worse than a home? He's like a homeless, whatever's worse than a homeless man's Russell Wilson.
A guy who lives in an RV, or a guy who lives in a van down by the river.
Yeah, a van down by the river guy. That's who Gardner Minshew. But he does some stuff inside the pocket that not a lot of quarterbacks can do. Like,
he plays not recklessly, but plays like he doesn't think he's ever going to play again.
Yeah.
I'm for it.
He plays like he's playing with house money. Like, and whether he would do that after he got a contract, which I mean, I don't know. I personally would just much rather have Minshew than Foles.
That's tough. Let's see what Foles comes back and looks like. Because I still believe Foles could have won the division with them.
What are the Eagles right now?
The Eagles are 5-4.
5-4. So the NFC East, who we all thought was going to be like this, well, at least the Cowboys and the Eagles we thought would be good.
Yeah, those
both are
two.
5-4.
The other two are like only 1 or 2 wins.
Yeah.
I think the Giants have 2 and Washington has 1. Which Haskins, my God, man, that's a guy that I think they're drafting a quarterback next year.
It's not what you want.
No, man, it's not. And which is a shame to him on that one, because the fact that he's not prepared by now, I think is more on him. Because you've had games to sit, you've had games to watch, games to study. You've had a lot of time to where you could have been learning and going out there. But I said this ever since the first game he played against the Giants. He made the Giants defense look elite, and he was out there and he's just not at any point. I get it too. I think this speaks more to Kirk Cousins because there's not a lot of weapons on Washington ever. So Kirk to have the years he was having going at 7-9 are more impressive than I think a lot of people will give it credit for, because the guy had like Terrell Pryor at one point, and that was it.
Terrell Pryor.
And that's just not a receiver you want to be like, yeah, Pierre Garcon. You want to be like, yeah, those are my go-to guys.
Yeah,
like,
his best guy was Jordan Reed, who was
and he played 4 games a year. And it was just like, I think right now Haskins could be almost in a Josh Rosen state where he's not going to be either on the same team or he's going to immediately be someone's going to just get a new job.
We're a lot harder on guys than we used to be, because it used to be like not unheard of, but it was like a surprise if a guy. It was like Andrew Luck, and this is only a couple years ago, but it was like Andrew Luck is the standard for like starting right out of the gates.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Dwayne Haskins would normally be a guy that would be like 2 years on the bench and then maybe he would start.
Yes.
Until somehow everybody realized, oh, if our quarterback's good on a rookie contract, that's like a hack for the league, because then we can spend the money on everything else. And now it's like seems like the most obvious thing in the world to say, but now when we have these guys starting right away, maybe he might not ever be good, but I think you can't just say he's going to suck just based off of what he's done. I mean, he's like 22 years old.
It's really. I don't know. I'm not gonna say he's gonna suck, but if he stays in that franchise, it's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna have an ideal NFL career. I don't think his career will last 3 years if he stays with that franchise.
I think it's hard to say, like, just because a guy is bad in 1 year, he's never going to be a good quarterback again. And not to people. I'm not going to do the stupid thing people do with like, oh, Peyton Manning's first year. Okay, you pull up the one outlier. And
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, Drew Brees was a 6th round pick.
Drew Brees under 6 foot,
and Tom Brady was a 6th round pick. It's like, okay, you're pulling up like the ones that are like the one example. Like this, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I wouldn't count him out just after. I think the Rosen thing was the first time we've seen that, where they completely punted on a guy after 1 year. And I know that's because they brought in Kingsbury and they wanted him to be paired with Kyler Murray.
My thing with Rosen, and even watching Rosen in college, I was never big on him. Just like, if you can't beat USC ever, and it's not like USC was this powerhouse when he was at UCLA, that says a lot. And I think these guys' resume in college does say a lot.
Trubisky at North Carolina, like, who watched North Carolina and said, this is...
Yes. Haskins had a great resume in college, but the thing that killed him, like I said, I just don't think he's properly prepared. I don't think he properly prepared himself to start at any point this year. Just when you watch him play, it's almost like he was an 7th round pick,
right?
Instead of being a 1st round pick at times. You know, it looks like he just barely made the roster.
It almost makes it like nobody knows what they're watching as far as the draft goes, because Minshew, we can say whether he's benched for Foles or not, and that's mostly, I think, because of the money that Foles is making.
I think that's exactly what it is.
But Minshew, whatever round he was undrafted, right?
I believe so. Yes.
So you have a guy in Minshew who looks better than, and granted he's playing for the Redskins, but he looks better than Haskins, who was drafted like 16th. Some of these odds that I have pulled up for the Super Bowl, Chiefs are 10-1. That seems like decent value. I mean, the defense might catch up.
For the Patriots.
2.2 to 1.
I was gonna say.
It's like 2 to 1.
Yeah.
But the two favorites are Patriots and Saints right now. So I mean, they're saying that's the matchup that we might. I mean, Vegas is saying
what they get the Chargers?
Chargers 75-1. Why did you ask about the Chargers?
Just because I love hearing about the Chargers not being like. You remember USA Today put out that the Chargers would win the Super Bowl? Idiots.
I think this might be the time. I think I might be out on Phillip Rivers. I've always been like a pretty big defender of Phillip Rivers.
Oh man.
But I think watching him like yell every week, and I just see him get mad. I'm like, dude, at some point,
he had 2 picks called back on penalties. He should have done 4 interceptions.
At some point, it's you. Like,
oh yeah. Cam Newton to LA is a very big possibility, I think.
Well, the owner said that they're not moving to London, and the logistics, I don't know how you would figure it out, but they're moving into a bigger stadium next year. It's like a 70,000 seat stadium, and they can't even fill out a 30,000 seat stadium they're in now. So it's like, what? How is that going to work? You have no.
I blame the fan base. The fan base is always, even in San Diego, is bad.
Right, but then move it. At least move to there's a lot of cities I feel like that could support a team that.
Bring a team back to St. Louis.
You could bring it to St. Louis. I mean, that was like a good fan base. I feel like that didn't.
Mm-hmm. They usually have a pretty good sports city out there.
I don't know how the whole that's like stuff I would have to look up and everything as far as the moving and everything goes. But yeah, I don't know. Did anything else from NFL that you want to get into? I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about like the NBA and the load management and everything that's happened so far.
Well, with that, no. The only thing, the next thing I will apologize for is LSU, coming out and beating Alabama. They look good.
Oh, I forgot about that. How did I forget? Yes.
They make Burrow look good. Burrow look great. I want to see what happens now. Your 1, 2, 3, 4 was LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia.
Right.
But Bama at 5 and Oregon at 6. So I'm like, this is, let's see what LSU can do now. LSU had the big W that I think that they needed to get to keep moving. I feel like if you mentally beat Alabama, if you beat Alabama and you put 49 on them, mentally the rest of the year you should be able to be like, we can beat anybody.
And the thing with that is everyone knew going into it with the quarterbacks, it wasn't going to be like the traditional Alabama LSU game where it was like 13-10.
Which was so fun to watch.
Yeah, which was still a good game, and people just want to see scoring sometimes.
That's phenomenal. I loved it, dude. Burrow's now got himself in the top 3 pick of talking now.
Can I do another one of those chocolate milkshakes, please? Thank you so much. Yeah, the college football playoff thing I was happy about. My girlfriend's a Minnesota fan, so I'm kind of rooting for Minnesota at this point. I found myself when the playoff rankings came out last week looking up because Michigan was 14, and Stretch is like, don't do it to yourself. And I was looking up teams that were 14 in the last couple of years, and did any of them make it in? No, they didn't make it in.
Okay, that's a hard, especially what are we, week 9 now?
Yeah, I mean, we have Ohio State left, and we have Michigan State this week, obviously. But I don't want to turn it into Michigan talk because it's kind of irrelevant at this point. Once you have 2 losses, you're pretty much out.
Yeah, that is very true. I think it's done.
How did you feel about the whole Minnesota-Penn State game? Because Minnesota...
I was really happy to see that. I think Fleck's doing a great job. I'm not a Penn State guy at all, but I like to see what Fleck did. Fleck has now signed his extension. He's not leaving anywhere from Minnesota.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of fun to see. I do want to see how much further Minnesota goes. I did pick, Ohio State to make a playoff bid. So I still think Ohio State's going to get in there, but I want to see what Minnesota does. I think Minnesota can do some fun.
How is Ohio State going to make it in with 1 loss, though?
I see that 1 loss you're talking about. So it's a loss that I don't even think Michigan thinks is going to happen.
Thank you so much.
That's
you already knew what I was talking about.
It's a tough loss to have right away, man. I'm like, if you think about that being a loss, I'm like, I'm not sure about that one.
I don't know.
Best of luck. But Ryan Day looks like he's running that Urban built team full.
Yep. There's definitely some footprints or fingerprints or whatever you want to call it with Urban Meyer there with the Chase Young suspension.
Oh, dude, beautiful.
Not that we didn't all know that was coming. And he tried to say I took a loan from a family friend, and the family friend just happened to be a booster for Ohio State.
Hey,
Give me a break.
You got to pay him. How about Memphis' guy in basketball? Memphis has no 1 overall prospect not playing the rest of the year now, which I think is stupid.
No, he's playing.
Is he?
Yeah, they said we don't care about whatever it is. Pretty much, this is how I read it. We're gonna try to win a championship this year, and this is all me talking. Nobody else said this. This is my take on it. We're gonna try to win a championship this year, and if we get the sanctions, we don't care down the road. They're going back to the old John Calipari method.
Calipari, Derrick Rose, someone help me with my ACT.
A family friend, a booster. But so yeah, they pretty much said that it was the NCAA said that Memphis is responsible for his eligibility. So if it comes out that he's going to wind up being ineligible after the investigation, whatever wins they get would be vacated.
Yeah,
but they're pretty much saying we don't care.
But my biggest thing that always bothers me with just let these guys in basketball come straight out of high school. And the problem is a lot of people some people are against it. I'm like, this is the problem when you have with it in basketball now. What do you expect? These guys are not going to go to whatever team can possibly. And now that sponsorships are allowed, basketball is going to get hit the hardest when it comes to guys getting paid to play. You're going to have kids getting $1 million and going to college at some points.
Yeah, Nike car dealership is going to give them $1 million.
There are boosters out there that pay these coaches. You just have boosters pull up $18 million, get rid of Willie Taggart.
I think it really kind of, not that I care about the XFL, but I think it kind of took some of the wind out of the sails of the XFL, because their thinking was these kids might come here instead of going wherever they're going to go because they want to make money.
If I was an NFL GM, I don't think I'd ever draft anyone out of the XFL.
Right, because it's mostly, they did the draft already, and it's mostly players who weren't...
Landry Jones is like one of the big marquee names.
Yeah, it's mostly players who didn't make it in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's just something to watch like in the fall, or I mean the springtime.
See, and I don't know, football's hard for me to do that, to watch kind of like that. Like, I can't watch the big three. Yeah, see, that would get... I can't watch the big three.
I'm not really into it. I'll tell you what, though, if it was... if like Dwayne Wade was in it,
or
Dwayne
if it was and Kobe and people like that in there, Shaq.
Iverson? Wasn't he on a team?
Iverson
recently?
seems kind of like he's busted up right now. Every time I watch Iverson walk, I feel like he's broke his own ankles a few times. He looks like he's like. But him playing, I don't know. Nate Robinson was in. I remember he hit a game-winning shot, and that was the only shot he hit all game.
Like, if you're gonna be a league like the Big Three, just go all in. Just like offer Shaq some money and just have him stand under the basket. You think Shaq can still dunk? Yeah, right?
I would hope so. It's 7 foot.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you should be able to, that's just something. If you're 7 foot, you have to be able to dunk.
What age would Shaq have to be to not be able to dunk?
When he starts hunching over 8 inches.
80? Stretch says 80. I don't know. You think Wilt can still dunk?
He's dead, but yes.
Oh, wait, he's dead?
Yeah.
Wilt's dead?
No.
Oh, rest in peace.
Well, we'll drink to that one. FSU hiring. I do think Les Miles is the guy that they need to go out there and target. When you really look at that, Les Miles, and my big thing is that Kansas. He's not out of school that's really going to come. Like, you should be able to outbid Kansas, let alone make it more attractive to come there instead of Kansas, you know? On top of that, he's won a national championship. He's helped Kansas got better. May not be the most glamorous record, but they're recruiting. People are going there. They're getting better athletes. They're just reshaping the program, looking better. And he's an awesome recruiter. He's won the Natties, reshapes programs, and he can recruit. So it's like, at that point, I think that's what FSU should be targeting. This Deion Sanders talk is idiotic, man. How do you go from a TV personality guy to a head coach?
I don't know. Well, the Michigan game's on here right now, and they have Juwan Howard, and not like he came, like Deion Sanders I think has no experience, right?
But
at least Juwan Howard was almost like a player coach with the Heat for a long time.
Yeah, but basketball and football are different when it comes down to coaching. I feel like you have to like
X's and O's matter more.
Like you look at Eric Spoelstra, David Blatt. I mean not David. You look at Eric Spoelstra,
Fizdale,
and Fizdale, and you look at what's his face, Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue has won a national championship. Like, Tyronn Lue's a horrendous coach.
Right, but they had LeBron James.
Yeah, but that's the thing. See, like, in football, everyone hated McCarthy but loved Rodgers. They're going to make the playoffs, quote-unquote, with McCarthy. Or when you have guys, that just can't – coaching is such a big part. Why Dallas won't ever win a Super Bowl, Garrett, is because coaching. It's just flat out. It would never happen. We won't make it to an NFC championship with them. So I think when you look at Deion, I get he coaches in high school, but he coaches number one, like this prep academy that they can recruit at against other high schools. And number two, if he coaches in an Under Armour game, that does not count as coaching. It's the Under Armour All-Star game. Like,
yeah,
Florida State
it's like
is
a
not.
Pro Bowl.
Yeah, you want him. If you want to be your head recruiter, I get him. You want to work with DBs, I get it. Being a head coach, this is Florida State. One, taking a cheap way out, and two, being arrogant and thinking they can pull up anybody. You tried it. Willie Taggart failed. Don't do it.
It's not the same thing as Magic Johnson being GM or whatever position.
Yeah.
It's not like him where it's like almost a ceremonial position. Like the head coach of a football team is much more important.
Very big reason why people talking about Cowboys head coaching search after this season's done. Tony Romo's gonna be in the listing. I guarantee it. You don't put a TV personality to a head coach, though. I get it.
You know what you mentioned Tony Romo, what makes me wonder, like listening to him broadcast, if he knows what's going on as well as he seems to with like predicting plays and the defense, it's like, how is he not better? Like, I'm always on Tony Romo's corner that he was a really good quarterback.
Look at his talent, I always say.
He sounds like a genius, though.
His talent was horrendous under his more health, like up until 2012 and 2014 were his years. When he got Zeke, he got hurt. When he had Murray.
Dez for all the Dez years, though.
Yeah, but he made Dez. Like, Dez won't get a job.
I don't know about that.
Dez wasn't that good.
He was a pretty good receiver.
Dez was.
He was like a top 5 receiver, I feel like.
See, he may have been under stats, but when you watch him play against top 5 DBs, he wasn't. Like, Julio against a top 5 DB is a top 5 receiver.
Not against Jalen Ramsey.
I wouldn't say that. He still caught 10 balls against them. That's only one game that Jalen had a good outing against. Jalen also gave up a lot to Antonio Brown, who was good against Adam Hopkins. You never saw Dez wasn't a Calvin Johnson and Andre Johnson type of Larry Fitzgerald receiver.
You don't think Dez is like around the same talent level as like AJ Green? Because when I think about a receiver who, when you're saying the quarterback makes him, I think about AJ Green and Larry Fitzgerald, guys who are good no matter who their quarterback is.
I don't know about that, because Dez was never good without Tony, was the thing. Like, never good. When Tony got hurt, he wasn't a factor for anything. When Dak was playing, he wasn't a factor. So that's why I come in with Dez. I'm like, I'm not killing Dez, but at the same time, I'm making clear, like, Dez was not the receiver that, like, people, like, he wasn't, like I said, the big talk was at one point him or Calvin Johnson, him or Julio Jones.
No, Calvin Johnson, one of the best receivers of all time.
There were stats. There was points in the seasons where they were there in stats. When the Cowboys and Lions played, there was a lot of trash talk between the two on who was the better one. Calvin, of course, the better receiver.
Now you're talking my language. Johnson.
Calvin's the better receiver. But when you watch it, and
that
you
was
really
a catch,
saw him,
by the way.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it was a catch.
No, with Calvin Johnson.
Oh, stop. Dez was more of a catch than Calvin's. Dez was more of a catch.
Come on.
Dez was more of a catch.
He's just a huge human being. He grabbed the ball and he just used it to pick himself up.
Yeah, see, like Dez is more of a catch. Dez is a catch, takes
God.
a step, stretches for the pylon. Like,
yeah, it was a penalty too. But
that's back when
catches were just all called willy-nilly. Everything was a catch.
Yeah. Like,
that was like the downfall of the catch was when those things happened. It's like now nothing's a catch.
I just hate how 5 years later you admit it. Like, no, just shut up. Like, just leave it be. Like, don't admit it.
The catch thing, and I find myself watching football, and a play happens, and you just have to like we're watching the Minnesota game. I was watching with Tiffany, and she would celebrate a touchdown, and I was like, I think that was a penalty. Hang on, like there was a pick.
Oh yeah, you have to.
And I was like, wait,
touchdown right now.
And she's like trying to high five me. I'm like, wait, don't.
There's like a 10-second delay on every touchdown now.
She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it might be a penalty.
Every big play, 10-second delay. Is there a holding? Is there hands to the face?
And then
is there a pass interference?
Some of the penalties come in so late too. Some of the penalties they'll call like a holding or a pass interference like 10 seconds. I'm like, how long do I have to wait now?
Yeah, the guys are over here like stepping up to the line.
There's like a play clock on the penalty.
Charles Rogers, R.I.P. That's a Lion for you right there. Good old Detroit Lion.
Anything on the NBA that you got? Anything? I think we were both pretty cool with when the college football playoff rankings came out. Where what are people going to get outraged about this week?
Yeah, man, it's like
last week. I mean, I was
there's
cool.
There's so many games to still be played.
Yeah, last week was I think everyone was in they just trying to make content and it was kind of dumb that Clemson wasn't in. It's like, well, we know they're going to get in when the loser of LSU Alabama.
Well, it's safe to say UCF's not getting in.
No, safe to
Tulsa,
say.
Man. Tulsa.
I don't know why anyone would take them minus 17 and a half. I definitely didn't do that.
But it's Tulsa.
Yeah, minus 17.
I don't know, but like they only won 2 games. Like, how did that happen? Like, that was horrendous.
Not good.
God bless, guys. Best of luck to you the rest of the season.
Yeah, not good.
Hopefully they get a cool bowl game where they got to play someone like, I don't know, fun.
Well, at least they got the national championship still, so.
Yeah, that's right. God bless. What an embarrassment. It's embarrassing.
But yeah, for the college football playoff, oh wait, we never even did the lines for NFL. We can do that, and then if there's anything else, we can go circle back to it.
I see the argument of wanting to be like, but I just hate the proclaiming thing. And I hate when they rear back to the Alabama. Yeah, Alabama to the 50s. Well, Alabama did it, and this team, like, okay, doesn't mean I like that they did it.
Did you go to UCF too?
I do, yes. But
and
I'm
you're still not against. I feel
no,
like,
dude, you can't say it's a national championship.
What's the like? Most people, you're in the minority, right? Most people.
Oh yeah, but I'm a minority Cowboy fan too. Like I can sit here and be like, Jason Garrett's awful, and we're not going to do well.
No, everyone thinks Jason Garrett's awful.
There are Cowboy fans that believe in him still.
I don't know any.
I don't know, man. There are Cowboy fans that think that
Jerry Jones, is that who you mean? Is that the Cowboy
I don't
fan?
think he believes in him. I think he's just like, all right, we can't fire him because we're not like really out of it, but like God bless.
What can he do to further emasculate Jason Garrett? If he just like said, we're going to decrease your pay. Jason Garrett's like, yeah, cool with it. Just hanging out. Yeah, the clapper.
Asshole.
So for NFL lines, I guess this is a pretty decent Thursday night
let's
game.
Go Pittsburgh. You're starting my defense.
It's Cleveland minus 2.5 against Pittsburgh. I would take the points. I don't know why the Browns were favored last week. I know they won, but I still feel like even though they won, like you should not have bet on them.
I'm with you there.
It was the spread was right on though. It was minus 3. So whether you got the hook or not, it would have pushed. I would take Pittsburgh. It's a short week, I guess, for both of them, but I have no confidence in the Browns whatsoever.
I'm taking Pittsburgh for sure.
How many over/under picks for Minkah Fitzpatrick? 1.5.
Under, but he's going to get 2 turnovers.
You know Baker's going to be throwing them up.
Oh, dude, this being the one. I see those games with Cleveland. They're one of those teams I feel like when you for sure think they're going to lose, it's just like, whoa, they really pulled that one.
Saints Bucks. Saints are on the road. It's Bucks plus 5.5 at home.
Let's go Saints. I think they're going to come back and really put one on the Bucks, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would say over/under picks for Jameis, 4.5. I think I might go over.
God bless. Just one of those.
It's just, I don't know. He didn't even throw a pick last week, but it was one of those ones where his ball fell out of his hand.
God bless. It looks bad.
Panthers minus 5.5 at home against the Falcons.
Yeah, let's go with the Panthers on that one.
I don't know. The Falcons coming off of a big win.
The Panthers defense is still there and consistent too, though.
Yeah. Speaking of another thing, didn't Saquon Barkley only have 1 yard rushing?
That's something like that. Yeah,
this past week. How?
I don't know, man. The Jets really came out there though.
Vikings at home minus 11 against the Broncos. Seems like a lot of points.
I know the Vikings.
I know the Broncos offense sucks, but
I just feel like you got to go with the Vikings on that one.
The over under the total is 40, so 11 points. Like the lower the total, the higher the value of the points. I always wind up forgetting my lessons. And I said earlier this year I'm never putting my money in Joe Flacco's hands again.
Yep.
But actually, isn't it going to be Brandon Allen or is Flacco's out for the rest of the season?
I believe Flacco is out for the rest.
They said it was like a neck injury, but really because of what he said.
When you're the GM and you're throwing your head back after watching him throw all the time, like you're gonna have a neck injury. It's like he wrote his own injury on there: aneurysms, mental relapse.
Wow, this is. It's never ceases to amaze. Never ceases to amaze me. Like as much as I love football, like the shitty matchups they can come up with. Redskins, Jets.
Good Jets.
Who cares what the spread is? So you're taking Sam Darnold on the road.
Yeah,
that's what
Haskins
you're doing
at home. Yes.
Is it Haskins for sure? Right?
You put Haskins in Columbus at this point, I'll still pick against them.
The Redskins are just gonna be like you on your fantasy team. They're just not gonna start a quarterback.
Oh, dude, honestly, I really almost won that game too. If I would have played Pittsburgh's defense, I would have won by 4. So mad, so mad. Damn you, New Orleans, and Len. How?
How? Why? Dolphins plus 6 at home. They're on a 2-game winning streak against the Bills. Sorry.
I don't know, man.
Why is that
weird
spread why is that spread so low? Like the Dolphins still suck, right?
That's a guy to look at picking up too. Is Gesicki. If you have fantasy, look for Mike Gesicki. Ryan Fitzpatrick throws to him a lot lately. Fun guy. But God, man, that's ugly. But I'm picking.
The Dolphins still suck, right?
I'm picking Buffalo.
We don't know a lot about the NFL, but we know that.
Yeah, I'm picking Buffalo. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's a weird. Is that the least that they've been? Oh no, because they played the Jets. But other than the Jets, that's like the least that they've been. The least points they've gotten all season, I think so. The Ravens minus 4 against the Texans. That is going to be an awesome game.
I want to see that. Lamar versus Deshaun. All right, let's go Texans.
I don't know. I like
Watson fan.
I like the Ravens. I love Watson too. I just feel like overall at home as a team, Ravens are better.
That's gonna be a fun game to watch.
The total is 50, so it should be. They're projecting a shootout. Okay. 49ers, Cardinals. Wow, that's 11.5.
I'm going Niners.
The Cardinals.
I think the Cardinals will beat that spread.
Yeah, because the Cardinals are always like one of those teams that's eligible for a backdoor cover.
Exactly.
Like they're always like in it somehow. Like I think they actually might be a decent team next year, whether it's
the way they're looking. Yeah, man. I mean, if you can, Christian Kirk looks great. You almost want to find one more receiver. So AJ Green, a valuable option for them looking down the road, because that looks like a receiver they should look into.
It just sucks for Larry Fitzgerald. I feel like
God, I know, man.
One of the best catches in a Super Bowl of all time, and it just got erased right after that. Was it Mario Manningham?
No, it was Santonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes.
I think it's still the greatest catch to this day in football, dude. The double toe tap, corner end zone, win a Super Bowl.
But it just erases like what Larry Fitzgerald did, and now he's never going to win a Super Bowl, right?
He was leaping Larry that whole postseason against Atlanta.
As much as I hate the Patriots, and I would never want them to win another Super Bowl in my lifetime, but if it meant for Larry Fitzgerald to get a Super Bowl, I would want Larry Fitzgerald. I know the trade deadline passed, but he would be a guy who's like, if he goes to the Patriots, I would like to see him win a Super Bowl.
Fuck him, I'll give him 7.
It doesn't look like it's going to happen with the Cardinals, though.
God, dude, oh no, man, not doing. Oh no.
Speaking of Patriots, professional transition, definitely on purpose. Eagles at home plus 3.5 against the Patriots.
Go Pats.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Go Pats.
I think the Eagles are one of those teams, and it's like kind of a dumb saying.
Die Eagles, die.
I think the Eagles are better than what their record is. But
The Eagles are weird to me, man. They
should be better.
They look like they want to lose games just to have that, oh, we're not good enough. That like they look like they have to be told consistently they are not good enough or they're not that great. They have to have this consistent underdog thought process.
Not good front runners.
Yes, like you guys are going to do it. Like they have to hear it before they play that way.
I don't know. It's 3.5. Can the Eagles win this week? Are they going to beat the Patriots?
They can't.
No? Okay.
They can't. We can't have that.
No.
It's too tight.
Raiders, who I think everyone owes an apology to. It's one of those other stretches sayings. Everyone owes an apology to Gruden.
What is the spread on this game?
It's Raiders at home against the Bengals -10. 10 is too much for the Raiders, I'll say that. But they are a lot better than people thought.
I do think that Jacob's going to run all over the Bengals. I think the Bengals are hands down the worst team in football right now.
Well, they came out with projections today, ESPN did, with and it's kind of dumb to do. There's like 7 games left. But they came out with projections for the draft, and they had Bengals first. They had the Dolphins down at 4. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really want to watch any of that game at all.
I don't think I'll watch much of it.
I have Josh Jacobs on 4 fantasy teams. I'm just give me his 100 yards, give me his touchdown, and I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Rams at home -7 against the Bears. This one of my buddies is in that big money survivor pool. I thought the Rams would be a good pick for a survivor pool this week because people are kind of down on them after the loss and everything like that. Todd Gurley hasn't looked great. Jared Goff looks like shit. Cooper Kupp had like 2 fantasy points or something
I think he laid an egg.
0?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe, yeah. And he played the whole game, right?
I have him on one of my leagues. Like, he laid an egg.
He's like, I think. He's like, I know.
I don't know. It's what these white wide receivers laying all these damn eggs, but it's pissing me off between him and Thielen.
Jesus.
Dude,
wow, we got to stick together, man.
I understand, man, but they're killing me here. Like, I have Kupp and Thielen on the same team, and I've gotten a goose egg from both of them now.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that sucks.
It's, like, awful. Godwin's not doing that to me.
Oh my God.
What? So like I said, I don't really remember much of Sunday, but he played the whole game and he got what? No points?
Dude, he got manned out there. Like you just had guys like me. All they did was focus on him. He's like, all right, Cooks is out, Woods is Reynolds is Goff is, he's really not that great. Gurley's hurt.
It's a good thing they didn't give him just a big $100 million contract.
Oh man, God, that's gonna happen to the Cowboys. I just know it. Dak's gonna be on 85 more fucking commercials. I hate it, man. Every time I see him in that stupid Sleep Number commercial, I think he's actually sleeping instead of seeing how, like, come on, man, like, I need this guy. Woods put up like 85 yards. Well, fuck me then. I'm sorry.
I already got a clip of the week, so I don't think you have to worry about that. I said Wilt Chamberlain's still alive.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Didn't he play when it was black and white?
That's when he dominated. Don't stretch that.
Yeah, I'm on your side on this one.
I'm joking. I'm a big Wilt Chamberlain fan.
Oh, yeah, I'm joking too. So this game is guaranteed to be exciting. I think the Chiefs will win. The spread's only 4. It's Chargers at home Chargers at home +4 against the Chiefs.
I think that Phillip Rivers will complain more times than he throws a touchdown or a meaningful pass.
Did it do anything for you like it did for me to know that when he's yelling and he's red-faced like that, like he doesn't curse? Like it made it less impactful for me. It's
he's got like 12
What
kids,
are you saying
so
out there?
Has
Like,
to watch his mouth a lot.
But he doesn't. It's a known thing. Like he doesn't curse. So
Good for
what
him,
what is he saying? Like I've never yelled that loud and gotten that red-faced without cursing. So what is he saying? Like, gosh darn it,
dude,
what the frick? Like, what does he say?
I don't know if that's true if he doesn't curse.
It's true. There's stories that he doesn't curse.
You know what I'm really upset about? How come the Cowboys and Lions weren't on here? The two guys that watch Lions fan and Cowboys fan.
It's a betting site, so there's probably no line because of the quarterbacks. They don't know if Stafford's gonna play.
Oh, that's right. God, I hope he doesn't.
What would you? Who's at home in that one?
Detroit. We're going to the Motor City.
If I had, very intimidating. So if I had to guess for that game, I would put the line at like Cowboys -4, something like that.
All I know is I'm picking Cowboys.
Yeah, well, it's okay.
I actually want to know that now because Stafford. It looks like they're getting in some trouble about Stafford's injury now.
Did anything happen to the feed? Chase said like a half an hour ago what happened to the feed. I don't know if it got fixed.
Yeah, like cut off on Facebook, but it's back on.
Oh, okay. I just got his message. What were you saying with Stafford? Yeah, they said they're investigating like how it was handled. I think because if you have a medical thing, you're required on the injury report to report it.
Yeah.
And it didn't come out until like Saturday that he wasn't going to play, right?
Yes, so I thought it was like late Saturday night.
Something about a bone, something in his back. Like, that doesn't sound good.
God, it sounds very Andrew Luck-ish. Like, as in they're treating it like it's Andrew Luck.
I'm not sure. I think if it's Driscoll, I mean, it's probably going to be like 4 or 5 for the Cowboys.
Let's go Jeff Driscoll, man. Played baseball with him.
Speaking of Florida. Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He played at Haggerty. Played on summer team together. It was very fun. Very good guy, too.
Good guy? Not a good quarterback.
Dude, honestly, at Florida, I really thought he was going to win a national championship
relatively to other good quarterbacks, he's not a good quarterback. Compared to us, he's a great quarterback.
I'm really happy though the fact that he ended up making the NFL. But you know, one thing I'll say, when he went to Florida, won 11 games, like, oh my God, the Florida's like they're gonna do great. And then all of a sudden, like, he lost to Miami, and then he just fell the hell off and was at Louisiana, like, Tech, I think, after that.
I feel like with the whole Lamar Jackson thing and Kyler Murray, I feel like Denard Robinson, then bring it back to Michigan, I feel like he was just a couple years behind his time, or before his time.
Ah, man, yeah.
Not that you could ever make an offense, because he was small.
I think
RG3
RG3 was more behind, but more not with the time than Denard. But I think Denard's just like what we call, it's like Troy Smith, you're a college player.
Fuck Troy Smith.
I know, that was the one.
Didn't he win a Heisman?
There. He did, man.
How?
Dude, that
sucks.
I know you feel this way. I know you do. Are you feeling this way about Michael Thomas? Do you hate Michael Thomas?
Yeah, fuck
what
Michael
about
Thomas.
Marshawn Lattimore?
Yeah, fuck him too.
So would it kill you?
Pretty much the whole Saints.
Would it kill you to know that I have an autographed Sports Illustrated cover of Bosa, Thomas, Zeke, and Urban Meyer?
What do you use it to wipe your ass? Or?
No, I use it for just in case if I ever really need money and that I know all 4 of those, and I have a COA on and all their signatures.
You're about to get hit with sanctions. I can feel it.
Hey, man. As long as I still walk out some and get rid of it before they get to me.
Well, we know Urban Meyer is not coaching in the NCAA right now, and
Joey.
Maybe next year he'll be in the Bundesliga.
Bundesliga?
Thank you guys for watching. We'll talk to you next week.
Oh, man.